I'm a little bit nervous, to say the least. I haven't sat down actually and made one of these style videos where I talk directly into the camera about real things here on this channel in quite some time. I've moved those over onto the Real Talk GP channel, but generally speaking, I don't make many of those. And so sitting down today and talk to you guys about my life and my health update is actually weirdly nerve-wracking. So just note that if for some reason YouTube recommended this video and you clicked on it, thanks for clicking on the video. This isn't the style or content that I like to make here on the channel, generally focusing heavily on gaming content, gaming guides, news, discussions, and the like. But this is going to be a little bit of a change of pace and give you guys some updates about what's been going on. There's been a journey that I've been on for quite a while, and hopefully this video is entertaining, informative, but also kind of catches you up to a little bit of the context behind the scenes, behind the gaming, behind the content here at Ginger Prime. So to catch everybody up to speed, this really kind of was a big shift last October when I announced my retirement from Final Fantasy XIV. The key reason being I wanted to spend more time with my family, and this has been, I think, accomplished in multitudes. Like, I can't think of the right multiplier to really kind of I guess put it into mathematical context, because that's how my brain thinks. So I'm failing the math test here that I set up on in and of itself. But what I mean by that is that I really want to focus in on my family. And a part of that is spending more time with them in the present, but also working on my body, my health, and my state of being so that I can be with them for years and years to come, God willing. And I think both of these things have really shown something to be very, very true and very real, because prior to that, I was still always trying to lose weight, still struggling, doing a little bit of yo-yo here and there. And when anybody talks about losing weight, everybody kind of comes out of the woodwork. And you can feel free to kind of, give your tips and tricks, below. But I'm gonna kind of talk to you guys about what I'm doing and what we've learned about me over the last 9 months. Now, there is no new baby news. Sometimes when I get on to talk about this, it's like, hey, there's another baby. No, we're doing really well, and Molly is doing really well. We have 6 kids at home, and that is all going really, really well. Now, in terms of my health, I am sleeping so much better. I am living so much better. And there's a couple of changes that I've had to make, because before I retired from Final Fantasy, before I made that biggest shift in my life, I was really getting up early still. Occasionally I'd work out. More often than not, I'd play Final Fantasy to try and make the content behind the videos to really kind of keep up with that game and that community. And what ended up happening was it just was the perfect storm. And I realized I'm just doing way too much. This isn't healthy. This isn't the life that I want to live. And I then took that additional time and stacked it onto the already working out and fasting, attitude that I had with my weight. And the end result was I gained 20 pounds. And people might be saying, what's going on? So I've cut out sugar. I've cut out pretty much carbs. At the end of the day, my carb limit is incredibly low. 50 grams is usually that. I try to stay away from 50, but that's kind of what it ends up being. And I've been doing that. I've been getting up around 4:30 pretty much every day. I give myself a couple of rest days during the week. And this is pretty normal. This is what I was doing pre-retirement and then, post-retirement. And the fact that the weight still has been struggling, I've finally, obviously went to my doctor and we ran lots and lots and lots of tests. I was run every test that we can think of. And we found out, obviously, I have a massive hormonal imbalance. And that's kind of why there's some anxiety. There's a little bit of nervousness because I don't know what I'm about to have to go through with this next phase of the journey. What it turns out when I have, or especially as a man, have this kind of hormonal imbalance, it leads to insulin resistance, it leads to weight gain, it leads to all the things that I really haven't been able to explain. I've seen some comments saying you play video games and you sit down all day. Clearly you're going to be overweight. And it's I have a stand-sit desk, I work out a lot, I play with the kids. And the first result though is that once I saw that my A1C was getting up in that pre-diabetic phase, really looking at, and a lot of people sent some videos, we really did the crunch the research, talk to the doctors, have changed the diet. For me, in this case, that was just cutting out potatoes. And I wasn't eating French fries, but I just had to cut out potatoes to really hit my carbohydrate goal for the day. And I can tell you the first thing, since we've been doing this for the last month, while the weight isn't coming off or hasn't fallen off yet, I still haven't started my hormone replacement therapy. But with all of those things in play, I feel 1,000 times better. Like, generally speaking, very clear-headed, very happy, very able to focus in a way that I don't think I haven't been able to focus in on things for a while. And I think ultimately that comes down to answering a question people have, like, how do you do what you like? How do you make content? How do you sit down and do these things? It's like, generally speaking, they're one take. Like, I just sit down and think of, or I write a script, or I semi-write a script to have bullet points, and there we go. There's the content, and people like you guys tend to really enjoy it, and it means the world to me. That all being said, is that next week I'm going to be going to see the doctor. If for some reason, and this is just my ignorance because I'm not a physician, I'm going to be seeing a urologist. We're going to hopefully figure out what we can do to get that corrected. And then essentially the nervousness comes into play, is that what if that is not still the only issue, and more, because, like, I say no to myself a lot. My wife looked at me and she gave me the best compliment. She said that if there's anybody who can do this, it's you. Because I'm stubborn as a mule. And when I set my mind to something, I generally accomplish it to some varying degree of success. I always kind of feel like whether you win or you lose, there's always a lesson to be learned, something to gain from that, from that information. And so that's where we're at right now. I have been for the last 2 months, especially like this year, 2023, pretty much off all forms of alcohol and sugar and fruit. And that's the thing I miss the most. It's the fruit. The fruit is what I miss the most. I love fruit. I do. And there's obviously a joke about June in there somewhere, but we'll have to get to that at some point, maybe at the comedy club. The comedy stuff is also going incredibly well. I just opened a show for Jeff Walsh. He was incredible. He does some tours. If you ever get the chance to see Jeff Walsh out in your world, go see him. It is an incredible show. I highly recommend what he's doing. So I've been doing a lot of stuff in that regards. Tonight, I actually get to do some comedy, which is great. Try not to do it too much. Thankfully, it happens in the evening, but it's just been so like freeing in a weird and beautiful way. And for those of you who've been checking out the comedy channel and enjoying the uncensored and like absolutely offensive brand of comedy that I put out in the world, which is always very shocking. And that's the whole point. I think a part of it is that I've always had this big fear just in real life about offending people. So always usually bend over backwards to not do that. And I tend to kind of in this way embrace that fear and then kind of bring it all together with some true life stories of craziness. Anyway, this isn't about my comedy career. This is about just kind of my, I guess that falls under the life update in this case. All right. So that's kind of the step forward. Thankfully, everything else, like the A1C is high, so I have to get that low. There's no choice. I'm not, that's just the answer. Like, all right, got to get that low. If after I get testosterone and start getting that resolved, the shift is going to be looking into maybe getting on some metformin. I talked to one of my friends who's a physician, seeing about maybe having that kind of help out with it, because I don't want to become diabetic. If I can avoid it, and if it's all up to me about what I put in my mouth, then that's essentially, I can control that, I can control that. So anyway, I just wanted to give those updates based off of everything that I've changed in my life so far. I am sleeping so good. I'm feeling so good. And I think that's a two-parter. That's one of the reasons why, as a kind of a final thing to wrap up this video, why you're not seeing me stream at night, why like there are some changes that you've seen if you've been following this channel and my content for any period of time, that some things have changed. And that's kind of the big reason. Like, I want to make sure I get into bed, and spend time with the family in the evening. And I'm not trying to rush up so I can go play a game. And then it's just kind of a matter of scheduling with the wife time to actually sit down and play video games, which in a way, like, I don't think that's actually taken, I don't think I've dropped that. I've just dropped these crazy projects and hours to jump into, X or Y or Z game. But anyway, that's the update. I hope that you found that interesting. Thanks regardless for being here. And I do appreciate you. And that's what I wanted to say today. There's a lot going on in the world of gaming, and I'm sure we're going to get it covered here on the channel at some point here in the near future. But without further ado, guys, thanks so much for watching. Hopefully you have a wonderful day. Hopefully I'll see you soon. But until then, take care.